Okay, so we're on to the final tab, which is fulfillment, and that's located here in the menu. And as you can see, there's three sub-menus. So there's all orders, which basically is all the orders that are fulfilled or not fulfilled. Also, any archived orders would appear in here as well. In this section, I would mention archived. And then there's a fulfilled folder where it shows only the ones that have been fulfilled. And then obviously any that are unfulfilled that you need to book for pickup, they appear in that folder. So it's up to you which one you want to use moving forward. I'll just go through each of the columns. So obviously the order number for the order, the date it was processed, the customer name. Obviously we've just got some dummy information there. The fulfillment status, as I mentioned earlier, and also if it has been fulfilled, the tracking number, which you can actually click on to track the goods as well in transit via this page, or you can do it via within the order as well. Now, before we get into actually fulfilling an order, I'll just show you a test that we've done here or about to do to Ballarat, and we've set up a shipping rule called Ballarat Cheap Shipping. So that one's come up, and it's come up with just the cheapest quote in that rule. So that's the quote there. This other one here is actually a Shopify shipping rule that we have set up by default, which you might have noticed previously. They have ones called heavy goods shipping and so on. We'd probably recommend just having a default, one or two default shipping rules through Shopify as well, just in case. It'd be very rare, but if our API is down for whatever reason and someone's trying to check out, it'll come up with nothing for shipping and they won't be able to proceed. So I would just recommend having some kind of maybe a higher dollar value shipping rule through Shopify, just in case that doesn't happen. Again, very rarely it would occur though. So we'll process that one based on Ballarat, and we'll go into the order and do that in a moment. All right, so the one that we processed earlier is this order here, 1120 to Ballarat. So as you can see, it says not fulfilled there. So when we get into it, it basically highlights obviously the order details, what the product was, the actual dimensions of the product and the weight, the value and how many were purchased, total weight based on that. And then obviously the customer selected shipping option. So that was the Ballarat cheap shipping at $23.10. So that highlights to which option they chose. So that may be important for later on when we fulfill in a moment. The customer information here that can be edited, which sometimes may need to be edited if they've entered in a wrong combination of destination, town, and postcode. It would come up with a warning here. And it'll ask you to click on edit and go back into Shopify, into the order, update the address so it has a correct town to postcode combination, and then save it. And then that information, then you'll be able to come back here and fix that up and then fulfill from there. So if we scroll down, there's a couple of options here. So we'll just start with this one here, fulfill from customer checkout quotes. So basically, it highlights here what the options were for this quote. So receipt of delivery was included, transport assurance was included to cover the goods, and there was no tail lift because the goods weren't heavy. And the Smart Pack has come up with a packing solution here. Now, this one, it's just decided that the cheapest option was the basic actual package of the item, not one of the packing types that we chose. So it actually will tell you here which actual packaging type to use. And these are the quotes that were returned. So, the TNT overnight, TNT overnight by 12 p.m, overnight by 9 a.m, and the fast way. Now, you might have noticed earlier when we did that, when I showed you the checkout, there was only one quote, and that was the $23.10 quote. That's because the shipping rule for Ballarat, for this particular one here, Ballarat cheap shipping, it only returned the cheapest quote to the buyer for that shipping rule, so that's why only that one was returned. However, these other three quotes were there; they just weren't shown to the buyer. So again, the buyer paid $23.10, and then it's up to you whether you want to use the $23.10 quote or whether you, for some reason, want to choose one of the others. That's totally your choice. Obviously, in most cases, you would just choose what they chose. Sometimes there may even be a cheaper quote. You might want to choose that for whatever reason. It's totally up to you and how you want to do that. If, however, you do want to get another range of quotes based on different information, so as I said, this quote was based on this info here. So there was a receipt of delivery chosen and transport assurance. But if for some reason the buyer, contacts you later, or you make a decision to not include one of those options, and for example, the buyer might say, "I just want you left at the front door. I don't want to include a signature on delivery anymore because they may not be home or something," you can disable the receipt of delivery, and you can leave the others on, or leave transport assurance on and these off. If you want to continue to use SmartPack to make sure that it's an efficient packaging type chosen, leave that on, and then click on Get Shipping Quote. And what that'll do is it'll return new quotes based on only transport assurance in the quote. So in this case, it wasn't any different with Fastway. It was still $23.10. However, some of the other quotes, I believe, like TNT overnight was $150 before, and now it's only $143.63 because there is no receipt of delivery option chosen, and so on. So totally up to you. You can take off transport assurance and do it again, and those prices should come down slightly depending on different parameters for a quote. Yeah, so Fastway's come down slightly. TNT's come down slightly as well. So when you're ready to book, you can either book from one of these new quotes, or you can just book from the first quotes that were provided to the buyer. In this case, let's just go ahead with the one that the buyer chose, which is $23.10. And then you can choose a pickup date. So you can choose today's date or a future date, depending on what you're after. It'll ask you to fulfill, and is that correct? And once you click fulfill, that'll process the booking with SmartSend. Okay, so it's updated the information. As you can see here, it has a fulfillment date, today, collection date of today, the booking reference number, the tracking number, which you can track the goods by clicking that link, and also the shipping label, so you can actually print that off immediately, and away you go, stick that on the goods. It has packing instructions, so this is available through SmartPack. If you remember, this one was actually just send it as is in its own packaging, but if there is actual SmartPack advice on using particular boxes to package all your goods in, it'll come up with a whole description of how to do that, and in what order as well, what steps. And obviously the courier used, the service, the estimated transit time, and the price paid, and the options chosen. So that's pretty much that. And if you go back here, that'll also be updated on this summary page. There it'll be fulfilled, and the tracking number as well. I also thought it was prudent just to show you some packing instructions where SmartPack has actually provided the instructions. So this is the packing box that we set up called Big Box. Dimensions are slightly different to what I entered previously, but so the packing is a big box, and that's basically, there's two items in that are in this order. One is that one, and the other one's that. And the this is how it would look inside the big box, and basically the steps are the packing order. The large item, the Arcana Adult Large Breed, goes in first in that location, looking like that. And then the second item goes in next to it, which is described in the first image there. So that gives you some step-by-step instructions. And obviously, if you have more items, it will tell you further steps and where to place them in the box as you go to package them all efficiently in that packaging box.